Good evening, all participants of tonight's student gathering. I'm Louisa Lau, the registrar of the HKICS, and that tonight this is the fourth student gathering with the title on experience sharing on the preparation of CGQP examinations. We already have taken three student gatherings in late February and March. The first one is about how to use the online study materials. And then the second one is about the examiners and how to take the look into the comments of the examiners of the law and compliance modules. And then the third one is about our the accounting and taxation modules is also on the examiner's comments. So now this is the fourth one. Then we invite some of our students to do their sharing with good results in the last examinations in November. So before I invite them, let's have a look of the tonight's agenda. I will still look into a bit of the Chartered Governance Qualifying Program to give you a snapshot, and then to share with you the performance and candidates' feedback on our survey for the November 2020 examination diet. And then we'll have our speakers tonight to share with you the examination and then you may ask them questions. And then the last bit is about the tips in preparing examinations and the learning resources and supports that the Institute provides to all our students. So about the Chartered Governance Qualifying Program, I think most of our participants knows it quite well because it was launched in last January. It's now almost like 16 months. The CGQP examinations take into two parts. The part one is almost like you see is the fundamental core, corporate governance, corporate secretaryship and compliance, Hong Kong company law, and the interpreting financial and accounting information. And for part two, it also have 4 subjects, but 2 of which are of the electives. They are the boardroom dynamics and Hong Kong taxation. That means that you can take either one of them. And then the other 2 is the strategic management and risk management. And about this CGQP models, we have the new modules in risk management, boardroom dynamics, and then we put the interpreting financial and accounting information with 2 modules put into one. With particular features that this module now, in short, we call the IFAI, is more on the interpreting side rather than doing a lot of calculations. So for this CGQP, already mentioned, it started in last year, January, and then this is an internationally recognized program. One of the specific features of this examinations is that we have the common papers taken by 5 divisions of the Chartered Governance, the Chartered Governance Institute. They are the Canada, Hong Kong, HKICS, together with our students in the mainland, Malaysia, Singapore, and the United Kingdom, and that which cover a wider area, including Ireland and other related territories. So based on the same set of questions, we all do our local adaptations because certain of the rules and regulations are different, so we will do our own. And then this is an international perspective with local adaptations modules of papers. We focus on compliance and risk, and that if students who take the case studies for the part 2 papers, including the strategic management, boardroom dynamics, and risk management, you will receive your your case study 6 weeks before the examinations. And then you have the elective models already mentioned. So after all, you've complete 1 qualifying program, and then you take you to the membership of due qualifications from 2 professional bodies, the CGI, the international body, as well as the HKICS. So this is the overview of the CGQP. Before I started to look into further of the CGQP modules, which I would like to also remind you that we require our students to complete the examination within 6 years, but taking into account most of our students, about 99% of our students are all working in full time, you may have additional 4 years to complete. And that all count on when you are on the register from 1st January 2020 onwards. So that is, if the students transit from the IQS to CGQP, you have the benefits still for 10 years. But after 10 years, nobody can be extend. So everything, whatever you've taken, if you cannot complete your examination, it will be forfeited. I would like to remind you of the CGQP. We take it as up-to-date syllabus, and then we make it current to all the rules and regulations. So make sure that you are on the right track, and then be current, and that to look into all the CGQP syllabus as well as the study materials. We will remind you through circulars, through e-updates, and then you have to go online, check from our website as well as from the online study materials. All information will be provided online. So the next is that I will just take a very quick snapshot of the survey we have done on the November 2002 examinations. But before we did it, that you know that usually our passing rate is not too good, but for this time, the IFAI, the first module, we have a very good results. And that also, however, the company law is a little bit below our normal exams in the past under the IQS. However, I would like to show you that if students who have take a certain learning support, their passing rate is, all of them are higher than the overall exams. And this also is applicable to corporate governance as well as the corporate secretaryship and compliance modules. And the strategic management modules is also the same. Boardroom dynamics, just the same for students who have attended the Hong Kong Youth Space prep course. And for Hong Kong taxation is not applicable because we don't have students to attend these seminars. So for the survey, in general, our students are fine with the administrative experience, that is the examination experience is on the enrollment, pre-examinations, communications, the COVID-19 precautionary measures, examination centers environment, as well as the clarity and ease of invigilation process and procedures. So in general, that students find is that they are satisfied with it. And about the content of the questions, I think most of the students have some queries is the format of the questions, whether they were clear and easy to understand and what was being asked. And that this also poses questions which most of our, in particular, the Hong Kong company law examiners have queries on, that students cannot understand the issues of the questions. That is the law issues, not the questions itself. And the time allocation. We have a 3 hours examinations, and then students, you have to prepare your time management for the answering the questions. And then about the balance of the questions, usually we have a total of more than 50 to 70% of students find that they are of a good balance. Remember, this is a professional examination, so we test the knowledge that a professional doing their future work they should possess, they should know, or even they cannot fully have as the experts, but you must have that knowledge and you know how to find your answers. And then the other one is about the study resources. And so we have most of the students will think that yes, about the study materials, the HKISS publications, past examination papers, but it seems that maybe students have not attended the Hong Kong Youth Space program because it's composed of 30-something hours. And that about the examination technique seminars, because we have only a very small number of students enrolled in last diet, and about the gathering and so on and so forth. So this is an important part, is that we ask our students whether they have spent enough time. Yes, most of them, they agree that they spent enough time, but however, the COVID-19 has affected their focus in preparing the examinations. And they find that if their employers support them to take the examinations, then they will have the benefits. And the final part is that we ask students about the hours of study. So some students will say that if they can spend time correctly and that they have some general background of that subject matters, then will take about 100 hours. If it is totally a new subject, then they will have to take a longer time because they need to understand certain of the very fundamental, and I would say sometimes it's like the principles or theories or the rules or even the jargons of that subject matter. So we advise them they should take 200 hours. So with the recommendations, most of them will say that you need to plan for your time, use the online materials, make the best use of the past papers, and then participate certain like these types of gatherings, providing you some updates and insights, and then enroll the courses if I think that if you are not familiar with them 6 months before the examinations. If you just take the examination 3 months and go for the examinations, it will be too tight because our syllabus is quite wide. So during the examination, be calm, read carefully, and then in particular with the case or the scenario types of questions, the facts, how the characters, what have they done wrong or what is missing. So these kinds of things that you have to interpret like a private eye, to look carefully, scrutinize them, and then you spend time to prepare outline of your answers. So with a very quick snapshot, this is the time which I would like to invite our speakers to do their experience sharing. Tonight, I'm pleased to invite 4 of our students, and one of them already completes the qualifying program and become our graduate grad CG. So our speakers tonight sharing with me is Carrie, Carrie Shang. She got the Merit Certificate awardee in the IFAI. Timothy also got the prize winner in the IFAI. And then Matthew learned to have good performance in the Hong Kong company law. And Angus is in the corporate governance, which when we do the survey, 2 of the subjects which most of the students will take in the June examinations. So before further ado, can I now invite all our speakers to join us. So I'll stop share here first. Okay, I would like to welcome our speakers, our students and new grad tonight again with Carrie, Timothy, Angus, and also Timothy. Okay, shall we start with Carrie? Let each of you introduce a bit of yourself. Carrie, please. Okay, we can't hear you. Carrie, we can't hear you.
Now hear me.
Yes, that's fine.
How about now?
Yes, very good.
Okay. Hello, everybody. It's a great honor for me to be invited as the guest speaker to participate in this student gathering event. I'm Carrie. I'm now working with FedEx Shanghai as a senior legal counsel. I'm based in Shanghai, but I'm currently supporting all the operations in APAC region. I graduated from Shanghai International Studies University, and I obtained my bachelor's degree in law. And after that, I did my master's degree in international business law with National University of Singapore. And I was also later called to the bar, and I'm a qualified PRC lawyer. After I graduated from NUS, I practiced in Singapore law firms and UK law firms for 5 years. My practice area was general corporate, cross-border M&A transactions, and also international commercial arbitrations. In 2016, I came back to China and I joined a domestic listed company as an in-house counsel. My job duty was to assist this listed company to expand its overseas market, among which I assisted this company to successfully acquire a Hong Kong listed company in 2017. Well, during and even after the process of the acquisition, I came across many corporate governance matters, and I will need to coordinate with the company secretary of the Hong Kong listed company and to take up the company corporate governance matters in my daily work. So I decided to take this, pursue this chartered secretary's qualification, and I hope that this will help with my work. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. So actually, when we look into Carrie's profile, she finished her examination quite fast, because she finished 3 modules in last year with the first intake in December 18, and then she finished all the 7 modules in this year. Okay, congratulations. And how about Timothy? Timothy Learn?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Timothy, and it's also my pleasure to be here with all of you. And a bit of information about me. So I'm currently working as a solicitor in a local firm.
And we have 2 lawyers.
Yes, and I graduated with a law degree from the Chinese University of Hong Kong. And then after my graduation, I pursued a PCLL program. And then upon passing that, I actually went to the University of Cambridge to study a Master of Law. And then afterwards, I came back to Hong Kong and worked as a trainee solicitor for 2 years. And this is now my 3rd year working in that law firm, meaning that this is my 1st year practicing as a full-time solicitor. So a bit more about my work. So my major practicing area is actually litigation, but I also occasionally have to take part in company secretarial matters, such as assisting my clients to establish a company or assisting my clients to alter its articles of association. So I occasionally also receive questions from my clients concerning various secretarial filings requirements or the deadlines, etc. And I found that these questions, although they seem to be easy and straightforward, they can be very important. And the failure to comply with them can constitute criminal offenses. And I also have the experience in attending a hearing where my client is actually charged by the company's registry for failing to comply with the statutory filing requirements. And so I think it is very important for me to equip myself with such knowledge. And that's why I decided to pursue a chartered secretary's qualification. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. So how about Matthew?
Hi, Matthew is my name, and I just graduated. I graduated in Sydney for a long time ago, and I'm just only currently doing the responsible officer in the local security firm to supervise my department. If I know Team Tony, last semester, I must go study with him because I almost know nothing in this course much, so have to spend a lot of time. So almost like that.
Okay, but Matthew, you're doing quite well for you pass the CA, CG, and CS, and then you take it one take off. So later we'll talk with you how you do your prepare examination, how you compare with the old and the new one. So our final one is Angus. How about you?
Hello everyone, this is Angus, and happy to be with you here today. I studied accounting in college, and as most graduates did, I worked in a big 4 firm and become qualified. I then later did a master related to statistics and another bachelor degree in all. At the moment, I am working in the finance department of an utility company. The reason for me to take this exam is to sharpen my competitive edge. Before this seminar, I just searched in the HKICPA website, and there are more than 46,000 members in Hong Kong, and the number of practitioners in the industry may be even more when counting those who only have foreign qualifications like the CPA Australia or CIMA. Therefore, it will be very good to gain one more reputable qualifications, and for accountants, it's also a good deal because we can claim certain exemption. In the past, we have to take 4 papers in the old syllabus, but with the new fast track route, if we are eligible under the new route, and we are only required to take 2 papers, and it's a good deal. And as an accountant, I will not I take this deal and attend the examination in last diet.
Okay. So we have 4 our speakers from various fields, so that mainly from the legal as well as from the finance and the accounting. So can I just ask because of the CGQP is the first time we have the examinations in last year, and then I think two of our speakers have previous experience in taking the IQS. So how you find the difference in any difference in preparing the IQS and the CGQP examinations? And then how about you, Carrie? Can you just share with us first?
Louisa, sorry to say that I didn't find the difference between the original scheme and the new scheme because I haven't taken a comparison. But when I prepared for the exam, I did look at the past exam papers of the corporate finance management and also the financial accounting. I found that the 2 courses, some candidates told me that the interpreting financial and accounting information is a combination of these 2 modules, the financial management and also the accounting. But when I look at the 2 past exam papers, I found that the 3 modules are very extremely difficult for me, and they're not the same or similar to each other. So I think in this aspect, I don't have much experience to share with the candidates. So I just look at the online study materials and the pilot paper, and also the guidance for the interpreting financial accounting information. Yeah, and spend much more time to prepare for it. Yeah. Okay. Maybe others guest speakers can share more experience in this aspect.
Yeah. So Timothy, how you find this IFAI module, because you take it for the first time, and then with your legal background, do you find that this is more of a calculating that do a lot of computation, or that is really to understand the issues and then to explain, like what you usually have to do, explain the facts?
I think it's more clean to the latter one, meaning that it is more, the question setter is stressing more on interpretation, explaining and discussing rather than calculating. Indeed, I also share the same views with Carrie, because I also read the past papers for the CFM and also financial accounting. And I could say that I was awestruck by the difficulty of those past papers. And I have completely no idea of what's going on, even if I read the suggested answers, because they are just too difficult. And it seems that the study materials for the IFAI papers do not demonstrate in such a detailed way that will enable me to understand the past papers in the CFM and also the financial accounting. So I think if you ask me personally, then I will say that the past papers for CFM and also financial accounting should be read only for reference. And maybe a comforting message to the future candidates will be that it is normal for you not to understand those past papers if you only rely on the study materials on the IFAI papers.
Okay, because I think is that if for students taking the IFAI, I would advise them to look into the study materials, because it's a totally different way of asking questions. That is, the requirements of the questions are very different from the past papers of the Hong Kong financial accounting and the corporate financial management. Because in those papers, you have to do a lot of calculation first before you go for the explanation, because you have the answers, have the figures, then you explain. But for the new model, if you look into the study materials, that they will need you to do on this is more on the principles and then to explain certain scenarios, which they give you some more facts and background. So this is very different types of questions. So if you are correct, if you are taking the IFAI, don't purely rely on the past papers of the two models. So do you agree with my saying?
Totally agree.
Okay, thank you. So, and how about Angus? You take the corporate. You have taken the corporate governance papers. So how you find it? The paper. How you prepare for your exam, and do you find it difficult or that about the timing?
To me, my preparation journey is quite structured. Actually, I spent around 100 hours during before the examination. I'm not sure whether it's a bit too long or a bit too short. I'm not so sure. Maybe this can be shared by others, because to me, I spent around 36 hours in the Hong Kong U space for the preparatory program. And then I spent another 6 days, that's around 3 full weekends into preparing the notes. And as what the earlier two speakers share, the past paper can be a good reference, but you can't rely on it solely, because for corporate governance, there may be some updates in rules and regulations, and so it will be good to me. It will be good to enroll the exam preparatory course. My concept is that I paid and then I have the tutor to trim the materials down to me. Because even I joined the course, I still received a full box file. You can imagine how how much information are contained in the syllabus, and you can't memorize it all. And so to me, a past paper will be a good hint and to let you get a feel, and also good for you to identify your own weakness. And if you have some concepts that you are not familiar or you are not really understand, then you can go back to the preparatory course and ask the tutor. And for other participants in this webinar, actually, I am at my place is totally different from the tutor. What he teach and what I ask is totally different, because I just have my to me that is I think there's a 50% self-study and 50% relies on the course, and then after those two phases, I then enter to the last phases. I use 2 days to memorize all the notes I prepared, and then the 2 days just before the examination. And after I honestly speaking, that will be a short-term memory, and then I memorize all, and then I enter the examination center and take it. That's it.
Okay, but when I listened to your experience sharing in preparing your examinations, you did a very good job. Is that you do your own notes. You prepare your own notes so that you know that you find your own focus and some ways to help you to answer. Because sometimes when students ask about that our materials are very thick and there are a lot of rules, regulations, or cases that they have to remember. So when you make your own notes, how any tips that you can share with our audience, because they may also taking not just in CG but others modules.
To me, honestly speaking, I am an exam-oriented people. Of course, the syllabus of past paper, I mean the rating of the topic rating in past papers may be different from the new syllabus, but it will be a good hint that what examiner consider important to the syllabus. And then if the examiner consider that is important and test several times within the past few years, then you have to give more time on it and reference to the study text and understand deeply in the concept, and also the past paper usually have some I would say that you can't copy it directly, but there should have some good works or key terms that you can reference to. And my notes basically prepared from that. But remember, because the past paper is referencing to the rules and regulations at that particular sitting of the examination. So you have to update it with the latest rules and regulations to make sure that everything's go fine. And I think that's my experience to be shared.
Yes, I think, Angus, when you share with us your experience, you are very good in preparing examinations. Though you say that you are examination oriented, but you look into it very thoroughly, and then with a general good coverage of the entire syllabus, and try to pick those important one. And that I think others may also agree with it. So may I now turn to Matthew? Hi, Matthew.
Yes.
You did well in the Hong Kong company law, indeed, because you are of the finance background. But you did very well in other papers like the corporate governance as well as the corporate secretaryship in the December 2019 examinations. So can you share with us? Because from time to time, we just got a questions from one of the participants who is with the accounting background. And then he asked, I'm not doing the CS, I think so as you, or the company law. So how you prepare for your examinations?
Well, after I heard that Angus what he say, and the reaction is, well, I'm also exam oriented, but I spend many times on my study because I'm not good at study. When I study my notes, I read it the sentence again and again, but within an hour, still in the sentence. Well, so I spend a lot of time for my study, and my method or hints is a timing. And so what I'm saying is, don't take more than 2 subjects in 1 semester, because you really haven't much time enough unless you're exam machine. So because when you study, after you study the notes or take the course whole, and you don't have much time to think about what's the examiner will test you. I think this course is mainly focused on the concept.
Yeah.
Because for example, in IFAI, as you said before, because I think it's divided up by 2 parts. One is calculation, and another one is the concept. And I think this subject or whole course is mainly to test your concept rather than the calculation. The calculation is only to prove that what's the theory behind only that. So I think the student don't take many modules in one time.
Yeah.
It's too hard and too stressed.
Yeah. Okay. So like you said, you have to to plan for your study, because you have to take look into this. You study this in very details. Make sure that you understand those lines or those principles, because when you study in particular the company law, it has a very thick volume. Just
well, as I remember, I studied the company law. I really read the case.
Yes.
Because, for example, the director have a different responsibility, right? Around 12 principles, right?
Yeah.
Each principle behind, they have the story, they have the case supported, and I read all of them because and why this 3 rings come out. Of course, I'm not 100% understand, but I realized that, oh, this case to explain why this principle is come out, and after you understand, you can easier to remember some point of it.
Yeah, so I think we have lawyers here. And so I think when we study in particular the Hong Kong company law, although we have the company's ordinance, but still some students will say that it's very difficult to remember all the cases. But when Matthew, you mentioned is another way, read the case like a story. So every case have a story. Then when you remember the story, you remember the characters, what have they done wrong.
Much more easier.
Yeah, and then what's why with the judgment, then they will explain why they make the decision, and then whether they are liable or not liable to certain wrongdoings or the remedial actions they have taken. So with this, Trinity, how you will advise our students who have to study Hong Kong company law, but they are not the legal learning students. They do not study law in the past.
I think I share the same view with Matthew as well, that the most important point for studying law or for passing the exam should be for you to understand the law and to apply the law instead of regurgitating what the law is. So in a lot of examinations, very often you will be given a scenario and then you will be asked to advise the character inside the scenario. And the question setter is actually expecting you maybe to very briefly explain what the law is, but the major proportion of your answers should be about application. That is, you have to show or demonstrate to the marker that you actually understand how the legal principles can be applied. And therefore, with this background, my first advice for you is never try to recite all the company's ordinance, because it's impossible for you to memorize everything within them. And my advice will be you can only pick the relevant sections of the company's ordinance with reference to your studying materials. So I believe I've not read the studying materials for companies law, but I think usually the material should be containing maybe a principle, and then they will give you the authority for that principle. And you should only memorize or recite the relevant sections based on the studying materials instead of blindly memorizing word for the ordinance, because you will not be able to memorize everything. And then when it comes to answering the questions, I think it is also important for you to quickly identify the issues. So the way to do that, my advice will be to look at every sentence. Usually the question setter will not talk about something that is useless. So usually every sentence will be able to give you some useful information. They may not directly provide the issue for you to discuss with, but they should contain some background information which will be able to enable you to think about more about the questions. And then after identifying the issue, immediately tell the question setter what the issue is. Tell the question setter very clearly that you have identified this issue. And then very swiftly discuss briefly what the law is. You may, at this point, briefly cite the sections if you remember. And then afterwards, the most major proportion of your answers, as I've just mentioned, is to apply this legal principle into the scenario, into the case provided before reaching your conclusion. So this is the way that I have prepared for my legal exams when I was doing my undergraduate. So I hope that this approach can be useful to all of you.
Yes, thank you, Timothy, for your detailed sharing, because I think it's many times is that students would go just direct, oh, what is about the questions, then how, when we talk about the issue is the legal issues, that is what just Matthew mentioned, what have done wrong of the legal issues in the directors or the company secretaries or the company, that sort of things. About the tips for the forthcoming examinations. Already the Institute has sent out an email to all those candidates who have enrolled the June examinations, and there are certain of the materials or the support services you may still use if you think that is appropriate for you. And then I would like to speak out again, although it's a bit late, it's already almost comes to half of the April, you still just like have 6 weeks for your examinations. But still, if you have not yet started or just start partially, make sure that you know what's the syllabus of your modules, and then check with the examination paper structure and format, because it will tell you that each of the questions, when you answer the questions, how much time you should allocate, and then you know how much answers you have to provide. And then if you have not registered your online study materials, please do it now. Don't be late. And so when you start, you may not have the 200 hours or maybe like 100 hours like Angus, but if you want to have a snapshot, then you can subscribe our online recorded video for last diet as well as this diet's videos. Then you can give a snapshot of the syllabus as well as how you can prepare for it. Usually when you first study for your materials, do some skimming first. Just skim and then look into pick up those, the jargons or those difficult terms that you don't understand. So you need to get familiar with these terms before you get into details. If not, you will have spent a lot of times but still cannot grasp the big picture. So you need to have a big picture of your modules. And then when you prepare, get your study plan. I would suggest give yourself some time, allocate some time in a very regular way. So that if you are early bird, I like to study in the morning, or I take a long time for traveling on the MTR or on the bus, it may be the best time for you. Or some of you, I'm an evening owl. I will sleep very late. Then you have to keep like an hour or so before you go to bed, like a bedtime reading. So you need to make a habit of your reading. If not, today I read this time, and to the next day I read another time. It's difficult to help you to build up your memory. Or that I would like to make use of the Saturday and Sunday. Nobody will disturb you. And so you need to, you need to organize your study time and your study space. Get used to it. But now the online study materials give you a convenience. Anytime, anywhere. When you can go online, you can turn on and read. So you have to prepare your study learning style. Like Angus, he has his learning style, make his own notes. And then I have another student also, she likes to make her own notes. And sometimes she reads aloud and listen to her own voice, so that she can listen whenever she can't remember the things. So, and then that comes to the bit of to refers to the past papers or the mark schemes, and then read the examiner's reports, because they will usually identify the weaknesses of that diet's exams answers. So most commonly wrong, and then usually is that what is missing out. And so you will alert of what to do. And when you prepare for your examinations, you need to, if you have some friends, it will be better. And then take some challenge to do, because you have the pilot papers, or if you do the past papers, just try to give out your answer in bullet points. So like if like the law questions, then you just try to, first of all, what is the legal issues of that questions? What relevant statute or case law is applicable? What have been done wrong? What is missing out? Or that, and then you can give advice. What should they do? And then if like the company secretarial, then you would need to know what are the procedures. Then with this, that it helps you to develop your answer. You don't need to write long answers. And then you give a fair assessment to yourself. Am I familiar with that subject matter? So do the time management during your examinations, because how many marks of that questions you allocate out of that 3 hours, and always allow 10 to at least 15 minutes for you to review all your answers. Don't spend on one questions, because you can get very high marks from one questions, but it can't help you pass. But average, every questions I get the pass mark, then you still get a pass. And so from your study group, if you can, and then do some general reading, a wider reading with other, we have always updates in the CSJ bulletin boards or the research reports. It gives you some insights and some guidance notes. It gives will be helpful to you. And always think positively. I can do it, because already we have more than 6,000 members. So all those 6,000 people, they take their examinations just like you. So you can do it. Be confident to yourself. And talking about the learning support, I won't spend time, but most important, try to make use of the free of charge study materials. It will be very helpful. And even at your day-to-day work, if you need to refer something, it will be provide insights to you as well. And so with the past, like the gatherings, we have the videos free of charge, so you can look into it. And that we have some other learning which will help you to do your study, like, and timeline. So if you are taking the strategic management, risk management, as well as the boardroom dynamics, on April 27th, we will send the pre-release case to you. Also, remember to check your inbox on your own account on our website. Download it read carefully, try to interpret what are the possible issues wrong or missing out, or something have not been done properly. So you identify the issues. So you are the like an investigator. You try to investigate what's wrong with this company, and then you will try to help them to resolve the problems. And then in mid-May, you will receive your admission slip. And then for the first 2 weeks, we have the examinations. And so all examinations results will be released in mid-August. So these are the key dates you need to know. If you have any questions, send emails to us. I think this is most convenient. And also is that keep yourself be current. Remember to read our e-update and the emails we sent to you. Make sure that our emails will not drop into your junk box. But if you have no time, remember to go to your own login account to check the important messages we sent to you, so you won't miss anything. If you have any problems, send emails to us, and then we will answer you via emails. So I think this is the last bit. And then we have a lot of the updates in the social media. Try to go into the Facebook. We have a lot of information, and also the LinkedIn. So send a like to us so that you won't miss the Institute's information. I'd like to thank once again Carrie, Timothy, as well as Angus and Matthew. You have given us a lot of insight, and that I hope that our participants will also pick some, have the words of the sentence of the day that they will be useful. And so here I would say I will end this student gathering. And thank you once again for all the participants to this student gathering, as well as speakers. And then I hope that sometime we will see each other in person very soon. And then I hope that we can have a physical student gathering next time. Okay, thank you and good night to you all. Bye-bye.